Myron Metcalf, ESPN. Coach, with the new hand-checking rules, do you think they'll improve the game overall?
I don't know. I think probably if we get a year maybe to see. I think the fallacy is that, we're not going to have contact. You can't put 10 people that big, that strong, that fast in such a confined area, and they're going to run into each other. I mean, it just happens. And it's always been a contact sport. I think what they're trying to do is free up the guy with the ball more. I don't know. Ask me a year from now, and I can eloquently answer your question, or at least I think it's eloquent.
We got a question in the front.
Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star. What's the story on the sweater? That's a good-looking leather sweater, yeah.
Really good looking, isn't it, Blair? You're jealous. I don't know. I figured I'd be the Max Good of the Big 12. I was in the OVC with Max, and every year he'd come in with an entirely different look. So I just figured
It works.
It'd be something for you to write about.
I think it's more of a photo op than. Hey, we just talk about Harrison Henderson. How much you guys need to, kind of be built around those guys?
Well, we've gone from, I think, trying to ineffectively throw it inside to we're going to be more of a perimeter team. I think what's kind of there is a few fun things left in this business, and I think one of them is kind of watch people mature. And those guys went from being, very shy, skinny little guys to not knowing what to do and kind of being not very assertive to taking a leadership role. We don't have any seniors, and we only have 5 returning guys, so those 5 guys kind of have to assume a leadership role for us, and it's kind of fun watching those 2 guys grow into that role, helping younger guys with the things that I think they struggled with maybe initially a year ago. But they're both talented guys. And they're both really good guys. So we look for them to have big years for us.
We're not going to let Coach off this easy. We got another question in the front.
Bob, and I know that throughout last season, when people ask you about the transition into the Big 12, you kind of held them off at a distance. But at the end, you opened up about some things, and the travel was difficult, and there were some areas that were difficult. In a way, does it feel like starting over this year? You got the transition year out of the way and starting from square one?
Well, I think people assumed, since I'd been in the league for a year that I kind of knew what was going on. And I was kind of hoping that I did. It was an entirely different league when I was there. We had a North Division and a South Division, and you played everybody in the North twice and played the South once. So it's an entirely different league, an entirely different atmosphere than it was when I was at K-State. The travel was harder than what we thought it was going to be. And I think the commissioner and everybody in the league have done a great job of trying to make it as painless as you can possibly make flying 4 hours painless. The whole league's different. I mean, let's be honest, officiating in this league compared to officiating in the Big East was night and day. The atmospheres were night and day. You go from a league where you play maybe half of your games in NBA arenas that are downtown away from campus, and you don't have student involvement that you have in the Big 12. I think the atmospheres in the Big 12 are far tougher to play in than they are in leagues where you don't play on campus. So there was I think a great deal of adjustment for not just the coaches, but I think the players as well. And the other thing, I think, was before in the Big East, because we were an hour flight away and 4 or 5 hour drive, and because we had so many alumni up and down the East Coast, everywhere we went, we had a tremendous following. And in this league, it's really hard and we don't have the alumni base that we have in the East. So there were a lot of differences, but as we tell our guys all the time, those students can't block a shot, get a rebound, or I'm not sure, sometimes they don't call a foul, but the other things they can't do. So just play.
We got a question in the far right-hand corner.
Coach,
Appreciate you two guys being here. Otherwise, it'd be awfully boring.
the NCAA just announced a 5-game suspension for Frank Haith with the Miami booster situation. I'm just curious, do situations like that make college basketball coaches more cautious about who they allow to be around their programs?
Oh, I think we all try. It's really a double-edged sword, because you want your guys to meet some people that are going to be beneficial to them down the road, potential employers, people who have contacts, people who can make calls, people who can be references. But at the same time, you're supposed to stay away from those very people. So, it's a fine line I think we all walk to try to do the right things by the kids, because the right thing really is for those kids to get to know people that are going to help them down the road and in the future. But at the same time, don't get too involved, because then you cross over that line. I think we all do. I think we all walk a fine line. I mean, everybody could sit up here and say we don't do that, but and probably knowingly we don't, but it happens.
We got time for one more question for Coach.
Did Scott take all of my time?
Beg pardon?
Did Scott take all of my time?
No, this
He
is
didn't?
your time.
Okay.
Your time completely.
Just checking.
No, we wouldn't let Scott do that.
I
Any other
worry about
question?
him.
I guess we're going to let you go early, Coach. I'm sorry about that.
That's quite all right. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great season, Coach.
Thank you.